Three significant things happened in Victoria today. Four, if we count Steve Smith's return to form with the bat. First, justice was served with Moira Deeming being returned to the Liberal Party room. Second, Victorians received a belated Christmas present, with John Pesutto being replaced as opposition leader. And third, biology became fashionable again, with the Victorian Liberals suddenly rediscovering what a woman is. Let's start with Moira Deeming and her triumphant return, having been banished by her colleagues back in May 2023 as a result of what could only be called a crazy witch hunt. Her crime, the crime that so offended the party room she became persona non grata, was to have defended the rights of women. She dared to say publicly what everyone knows but is too afraid to say. Men don't belong in women's sport or in women's spaces. No matter how sincerely those men might believe themselves to be women, or how inclined government departments might be to lie for them. Much has been made of Moira Deeming's religious beliefs. She's a committed Christian, and good on her. Perhaps that explains her integrity and her courage. It definitely explains her reaction to today's events, which I'll come to in a moment. But you don't have to be religious to understand biology, do you? It'll forever be a stain on the Victorian branch of the Liberal Party that they voted to expel a woman for insisting that women are women. Wokeness really does destroy the brain. On the other hand, Moira Deeming's story should inspire men and women around the country to stand up for truth, no matter the consequences. Was it Martin Luther King who said the arc of history is long, but it bends towards justice? So almost 2 years after being branded a Nazi sympathiser and banished into the political wilderness, justice today was done. MPs voted 23-4 in favour of bringing Deeming back. Of course, question marks remain over the Victorian Liberal Party room. How is it that 10 MPs who voted for Deeming today voted against her just a week ago? And how is it, after all that has transpired, that 4 MPs still voted against her today? Some people clearly never recover from woke. There are no question marks, however, over Moira Deeming. She's come through this ordeal squeaky clean and with her head held high. Principled, strong, courageous, on the side of truth, and, I might add, gracious to a fault.
I have to actually give credit to John Pesutto. He did shake my hand and say sorry to me personally today, so thank you, Mr. Pesutto, for that. That meant a lot.
Now, asked if she took satisfaction in the fact her tormentor had been banished to the backbench, she replied, like a Christian.
I'm not gleeful about any of it. That's repugnant to me, that idea. I do think that John came into this position with lots of potential and goodwill, and I don't know what happened in the background. Like I said at the beginning, I think it was unavoidable, but he has apologised to me today, and that's the end of it.
Now, before we get to John Pesutto, there's another thing worth mentioning about Moira Deeming. This whole thing began because she dared to stand up for women's rights, right? Well, after she was reinstated to the party room, the party's leadership ballot was won by 2 men. Brad Batten was elected leader and Sam Groth was elected deputy. So, of course, journalists asked Moira Deeming if she was disappointed that a woman wasn't elected to one of the top jobs, and here's how she replied.
Yeah. It was a democratic election. It is what it is. If women want equal treatment, that means being, accepting the results of democratic elections. That's just a fact. I don't care about a gender mix. I care about merit.
So that's what a conviction politician looks like. If there's a God in heaven, may he give us some more of that. But journalists asked, what if progressives? What if they attack the Liberal Party for not having a woman in their leadership pairing? Here's Deeming's response.
I won't be taking lectures on how the gender balance of our team from anybody who can't even define what a woman is.
And that's how you win elections. You run to the fight, not away from it. John Pesutto may well be a nice guy, but nice wasn't enough to compensate for weak and unprincipled. While Deeming's story is one of triumph, Pesutto's, well, it's one worthy of a Greek tragedy. If only he hadn't been so afraid of Dan Andrews. If only he hadn't been so afraid of the woke mob. If only he hadn't appeared to be part of the woke mob himself. If only he'd settled the Moira Deeming defamation case out of court for $100,000, as was offered, and thrown in, a simple, heartfelt apology, he'd likely still be leader. Now he's up for millions and has lost his position.
Will Brad do a better job than you?
Well, we're all behind Brad now, and we're focused on winning the next election in 2026.
And so John Pesutto is now yesterday's man, although some might argue Pesutto has been yesterday's man for about 2 years now. The new leader is Brad Batten, who, if nothing else, at least seems to know what a woman is. And now that the Victorian Liberals have solved that mystery, they might be able to finally get on with the job of ousting the Victorian Labor government, who don't know what a woman is, or what a budget is, or what affordable energy is, or what reconciliation is, or what social cohesion is, or what law and order is either. So, well done, Moira Deeming. Welcome back, ladies, and Merry Christmas, Victoria.